What?
Hello and welcome back to what?
Go.
Now?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Do I have your permission?
No.
Then shut up! Hello and welcome back to Galactic Reviews. This week this week we watched the movie Rocketeer. It's a 1991 film. It's an old film, at least by our standards. It's before we were born, so it's an old film. I don't know if it's deemed a classic. I know it's a cult classic nowadays. So I enjoy this film. I really did. Having found out about this through watching our baby cousin watch this crappy TV show and figuring, you know what? I bet you that's an IP that was acquired. Going in, doing all the research, finding the comic, reading the comic, and then watching this movie. I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the film, and I've enjoyed the comic. So they even though like the comic is very much more, it's more so a graphic novel, so it's got a lot more adult tones in it, but the characters still feel like the same characters in this film. Like exas they didn't like majorly change the characters in order for it to make it somewhat a tangible movie or a feasible movie. It's still they kept the characters the same, and that was something that the creator, Dave Stevens, who was a co-producer on this film, made sure that they did, and he was proud of that. The guy who directed this also directed Captain America. So yeah, the first Avenger. So kind of a good predecessor for it. This is kind of what I think most comic book movies should be or should aspire to be to some degree, but that's just me and my humble opinion. Um, so you're nodding my head at a humble opinion. Okay.
Very humble.
Why is it stupid?
No, because I heard it from you.
Okay, thank you. Um, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. Like the acting, I love the score. Like if you go back and listen to the music, the music is awesome. Like a lot of I know you'll like this a lot of minor key stuff, and like when it's tense and stuff, it's all the same. Look, it's
Really? Really, Payson?
yeah, because you're a musician.
No. Minor keys? Really?
Not in that way.
Bro.
Not in that way. You don't have the pedophile
Uh,
mustache like Zach.
oh,
You're wrong, man. You are messed
bro,
up.
you're the one that said it.
You're the one who thought it. Back to Rocketeer. I thought it was good. Liked
Rocket
it.
Man.
Thought Timothy Dalton, former James Bond actor, did a really good job playing the villain. I thought every character acted like the character from the comic, just in a different sort of story format. I like that. I got nothing else to say other than I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I definitely like this movie. This is like my third time watching it in like at least the span of a year. And I like this movie. I really do. I know Andrew says it's cheesy, but I like the movie. It's one of those films that like takes a kind of has that timeless feel to it, in which you don't feel like it's asserted in any specific time period, unlike most of the Marvel films nowadays. And I do like that about it, that sort of timeless aesthetic about it. So yeah, yeah, 8 out of 10 for me.
So
Ethan,
for me, this movie was absolutely phenomenal. Okay? You know what's even funnier? This was the average movie back then.
yeah, that's the sad
This
part.
is an average movie for Disney. And the fact that they were able to get all of these elements into this movie and besides explosions and all that, the fact that they were able to get all of this stuff into a Disney movie and for that movie to be considered average back in the day, insane.
Well, I mean, there was an
Like
explosion
you'll never
towards the
get
end,
this
though.
type of average. This was considered average in the Disney realm of things back then. If
Yeah,
you put this movie in right now, it would blow up. This movie would have been beautiful.
in the good way.
Oh no, yeah, in the good way, 100%.
No, you
I
got a
mean,
good
you've
point.
got what? The twist that happened was hilarious. Loved it. The guy in the mask, I don't know why they couldn't have just gotten a bigger guy without a stupid big old mask. I don't understand that one.
So I'll explain that later, but keep going.
Okay. But like it was just like I it was just a fantastic movie about the 1930s.
Yeah,
So
late
this
1930s,
one,
right before the war. So
yeah. So on this one, I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. Just a phenomenal movie. Now, I will
yeah,
say there is a like some like cussings here and there and all that other stuff. So, but good movie.
my favorite. Honestly, I gotta say, my favorite line, like my favorite thing in the movie, was has got to be the thing in the end where Howard Hughes goes over and tell and talks to Cliff Secord.
What was it like, strapping that thing to your back and flying like a bat out of hell?
It was the closest I'll ever get to heaven, Mr. Hughes.
That kind of encapsulates both Cliff Secord. That that encapsulates the whole movie in a sense, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, just honestly, great movie.
So the guy that Lothar, the giant guy that has the mask thing,
Yeah.
that's because that's how he looks in the comics. That's the only reason why that's there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's deliberately because he looks that way in the comics. So they did sort of like what they did with Back to the Future,
So
in
they
which they
got the
made him look
biggest
older.
guy they could
So
find, put him in a mask and say, "Here, talk in a really deep voice and sound very stupid whenever you're trying to get off a plane,
he's
when you're
not
trying to get off the blimp."
he's not he's not stupid. And to some extent, they actually kind of show he's like very intelligent, smart to some degree.
Except at the very end.
Well,
Whoa.
at the very end, he forgets that he has that buckle on. That's about it.
Oh wow. He forgets after dangling for like a few minutes.
Well, no, he's not think. Well, in all honesty, that can be a
Oh, I guess it was like he was too
well.
focused to like
He
in
was too
killing, I
focused.
guess.
He was too focused in killing the other two compared the Jenny and Cliff. That when the explosion went off, he just ran. He didn't realize that he had the belt on. He forgot
Yeah.
completely, and he just ran. It's what makes that character seem more human than it just him escaping randomly.
I think one of
So
my
you
favorite
could argue either way for it, just because it seems like such a human mistake for the character that it makes sense to some degree.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts about this was when like half of the bad guys turned on the other bad guys, and I just thought that was really cool. It reminded me of it was the episode of A Team
Yeah.
where it was the A Team in like what was it? It was I forget where it was. I think it was like they were in the river and it was that river guy with the
Oh,
one leg.
the river pirate. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the river pirate was like, "No, I'm a good guy now." And they team up with the A team to take down that thing.
Yeah. So he's so for people who don't know, there's an episode in the A Team where there's this river pirate guy that seems to be the big villain, and he's like stopping everybody from going down this river. Well, the A Team goes and finds out goes is able to go down the river and finds out that it's a Nazi camp in which they're making a nuclear reactor. Well, once the pirate finds out, he joins up with the other guys because he's like, I didn't realize I was helping out Nazis. That's kind of how I can see where that kind of
I
it's
just
very
like
similar.
that. I like that whole like, "Hey, we're turning on you because you're this and we don't like this."
Yeah. Oh, it's another funny scene, but when the head mob boss turns to one of the head
Oh
CIA
yeah,
guys
when he turns to that guy.
and they
Yeah.
look at each other and then they keep firing, they're like, this is awkward.
This is
This
the
is so
weirdest
awkward.
situation I've ever been. I wonder because they had did they have a show after this?
Uh so I think Disney, in
If
order to
they
keep the
did, they
IP,
really, huh?
I think in order for Disney to keep the IP, or to some extent, Disney has created a Disney Junior show,
Yeah, they
and
did.
it's kind of been horrific to say the least.
Yeah,
So But
But like
no, they haven't really done anything else with the character other than this. I
they
know
should. He did
they've
it. I
had
think
a
they really set it up for another movie.
yeah. Well, ever since the guy who created the Rocketeer died in I think it was like what 1990 something.
Uh-huh.
Or no, I think he died in 2009. Actually, I think he
Hmm.
died around 2009. Since then, IDW has kind of like taken his comic book character and start doing more comics with his character. I don't know if they've been good or bad. I haven't read them. I don't want to. IDW has not been that great. So, uh, but they haven't really done Disney as far as like making movies and shows because I think that's what they're allowed to do with the character.
Hmm.
I haven't seen anything other than them speculate and saying that they want to do more. They want to do stuff with the Rocketeer. I think they had one movie in which they wanted to. They had a movie which they wanted to do a sequel, and most of the time it's a sequel without Cliff Secord, which kind of begs the question: why do the Rocketeer if you're not going to have Cliff Secord as the main? But I think one of them, which was the most outlandish, was having uh geez, they were gonna change it up and make it like some black lady. I'll be the new Rocketeer. So they were gonna like both Miss Marvel and and Captain Falcon this right away. But yeah, other than the Disney Junior show, which I think didn't last that long, considering that nobody wanted to watch it, they really haven't done much of anything with it other than say that they're wanting to do something, but nothing getting done about it. So,
To be fair, that is a
which
lot of the Disney Junior shows right now.
yeah, which to be fair is probably a good thing because a lot of people this film has somewhat become a cult classic. I would venture to say a lot of people probably haven't heard of this, but the people that have are going to be ecstatic about the character. To the most part, there'll be some people like Andrew who's like, yeah, just a friend made me watch it, and that's about all I know. But there's going to be people like me that have read the comic book and watched the movie and have been like, yeah, I love what he was able to do for the short time he was able to do whatever anything with the character. But so,
I
but
thought it
yeah,
was fantastic.
yeah. You know what? You've changed my mind. I want to get an 8.5. No,
Yeah.
no, it's a very good movie. Yeah, and it's a very good movie. So 8.5 to 9 is not unreasonable. For whatever reason, I really like the score, and
Oh yeah, that score
rewatching
was
it
fantastic.
rewatching it the third time, it's like holy cow, you can get all the tones like they do well, and it's mostly the same. It's for the most part, it's somewhat the same tune, just in different key changes, different minor keys and major keys. Which, if you're not a band guy, that essentially just makes it that way. It's more eerie, more mystical, but still keeping it roughly the same tune. So yeah,
Rocket Man.
had a feeling you'd go there at some point in this thing.
Rocket Man. No, I'm kidding. It's funny.
So
I like how they mentioned, oh yeah, Rocket Man. No, it's terrible.
Rocket Boy, no, that's terrible. Rocket Man, no, that's worse.
That's worse.
So
They're like, oh, that's even worse.
but yeah, that's the whole reason for why Lothar kind of bringing it back to Lothar. That's the whole reason why he looks that way is because that's the way he looks in the comics. So
Oh, okay.
and he's a big dude. Like he's probably
Oh
about
yeah.
as big as like in the comics he's about that tall as well. So
You lose.
bad.
I think what was great about this film, the writing from the beginning to the end, phenomenal.
Yeah, they really try to make it seem like it was an old timey tale, kind of like Andy Griffith, but making it also seem somewhat timeless all the way through it as well. And that honestly is
Like you
phenomenal.
couldn't tell if you watched the entire thing through that it was like 1930s. Because I feel like it wouldn't even matter if it was 1930s or not. Like,
I mean,
sure, the whole
it
Nazi
kind of
thing.
does. It kind of does with yeah, kind of does with that. But other than that, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, with the whole Nazi thing, it's like, But like the
it's
writing completely throughout the entire thing, like the whole, like, what was it? Well, spoilers for anyone who's wanting to watch it. The piece of gum.
Yeah.
at the beginning, and then him getting rid of the gum at the end. Like that was smart. And then like what was it? The whole change where again, spoilers in case he hasn't said anything. Um but like the whole what was it? It's that one thing. Oh, the not like the actor becoming a Nazi,
Yeah.
and then how he's like, "Oh, it makes sense now." And then all the other people are like, "No, you're stupid." I'm like, "Bruh, come on, really?" He
But
connected dots faster than the FBI.
yeah. I think I accidentally called him the CIA, but it's actually the FBI. That was my
Yeah,
mistake.
it's the FBI. Come on, Payson, get with the
FBI.
program.
I don't know if you'd be interested or not, but I've got the comic book here of all the work that was done by Dave Stevens.
Ooh.
Yeah, let me go get it real quick.
Since Payson's leaving, I'll do a little dance.
Please don't do a dance. I gotta edit this. I'm gonna see it later. Samba.
Yeah, how's that?
But yeah, this is like a, collector's edition for the Rocketeer because this was made back in like 1985. So a lot of these comics, and then they were redrawn. So yeah, a lot of this stuff, like, just put it in perspective. Look down here, right here. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's very much a not completely, you know, you know what I mean?
That one's more of like a rated R type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Um,
definitely rated that thing PG.
and here's the best, and here's what the rocket looks like in the comic book, and it looks very different, but they
Oh
kind of
yeah.
hint, but they kind of hint towards it
It
with
looks
the,
more alien-like.
yeah, it looks more futuristic, whereas the other one looks more practical in the movie.
Yeah. It looks
They
more
do
like as
kind of
if it
hint,
were to have been built in that time.
yeah, yeah. It does look a little bit. It does kind of. I think in the blueprints that PV gets towards the end, it kind of has that similar look on the blueprints and what he might possibly make in the future. However, it's it's still really good. So here's kind of that shot that they kind of mimicked in the during that big epic fight scene before he goes on the blimp. So
That movie was insane. I was shocked to see how good it was.
yeah,
I was expecting a very mid movie, and then I was like, "Oh my goodness, vintage Disney is actually really good."
yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be that good when I first went to watch it,
Oh no, I thought it was
just
gonna be
because
like bad.
yeah, I thought it was going to be very very different. So this is the guy that the sort of bad guy, the big guy right there. That's why he looks that way. Is
Oh,
because he looks that way in the comic book. So, and they captured him really well. So I was actually impressed with that.
I just
The
hated
thing
how
that,
his mouth was always like this.
yeah, well, I mean, that was probably about the best they could do with the prosthetics that they had. And since they probably weren't using CGI as much or not to that full extent that Marvel's doing it now in almost every other shot of somebody just
Dude, I've
punching
stopped
somebody,
watching Marvel.
you gotta at this point. All right. That is this episode of Galactic Reviews.
All right.
All right. Thank you for watching this episode of Galactic Reviews.
All right.
If you agree with me and Ethan, if you agree with me and Ethan's comment on the movie Rocketeer, then, or if you don't, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit the
All
like
right.
and subscribe button. And we'll see you next time on Galactic Reviews.
All right.